Our boy Hakeem Jeffries, Walmart Obama, Temu Obama. I think I've seen in the comments Dollar Tree Obama, Great Value Obama. You guys crack me up with that. Comment your favorite nickname down below. But Hakeem loses his cool and snaps during a CNN interview after the reporter continuously calls him out for being a lying hypocrite. We love covering Walmart Obama on this channel for two reasons. Number one, he's a complete buffoon and makes a fool out of himself every time he opens his mouth. And it gives us an insight into the complete state of dysfunction at the top of the Democrat Party. And number two, because Hakeem is emblematic of everything that is wrong with the current Democrat Party. He's inauthentic, he's scripted, he speaks in slogans and platitudes. He's timid and grossly unprepared for the current moment Donald Trump has put the Democrat Party in. He has no impressive policies to present, so as the leader, he's allowed the Democrat Party to descend into an anti-Trump pit of abyss. And as their leader, the supposed head of the anti-Trump movement, the best thing Hakeem can muster up is an 8-hour filibuster to delay Donald Trump's flagship piece of legislation, which then passed anyway. And now he's furious Republicans won't let up and give them a chance to breathe, and instead are putting their foots on the necks of the Democrats in the lead up to the 2026 midterms. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel, but let's listen to Hakeem go on his whiny rant about why Republicans are such bad people for doing the exact same thing Democrats do.
House Republicans have been a complete and total failure for the American people. They have no credible track record of success. That's why House Republicans are afraid of the voters in 2026 in the midterm elections, and they're trying to cheat to win.
Cheat to win. I mean, but this is what majorities do. They redraw lines.
It is completely and totally unprecedented to engage in mid-decade redistricting. That is only being done because House Republicans in Texas and beyond know they have no track record of success.
Okay, what Hakeem's mad about, and I'll catch you up to speed, is Texas deciding they're going to redraw their congressional districts to give Republicans a favorable advantage going into the 2026 midterms. Now Hakeem's screaming, oh my God, it's so unprecedented. And what the Democrat pundits on television will tell you is redrawing districts is usually for census years. You figure out what the new population growth or decline of a state is, and then you redraw districts accordingly. So he's complaining this is unfair and undemocratic that Republicans are deciding to do this in the middle of the decade leading up to an election. Well, would you be surprised if I told you it actually isn't unprecedented? In fact, we only need to look back as far as 2016 when Barack Obama was president to see that the Democrats did the exact same thing. This is an article from the Center for Politics titled How Mid-Decade Redistricting Saved the Democrat House Majority, published in 2020. I'm just going to read you a little excerpt here. When Democrats came out of the 2020 election with just a 222 to 213 advantage, some observers claimed that Pelosi's majority was due to several states that saw mid-decade redistricting. Specifically, beginning with the 2016 election cycle, North Carolina, Florida, Virginia, and Pennsylvania discarded maps that were favorable to the Republicans and replaced them with plans that were more generous to Democrats. Just another example of Democrats shamelessly lying to people and pretending they're these outstanding, by-the-book politicians, and the big bad Republicans are just out here defying every political norm that we have. No, Hakeem Jeffries is just mad the Democrats have absolutely no political clout, they have no footing, they have no plan, and the Republicans are doing exactly what Hakeem Jeffries would be doing if he had power, if he had any influence, if he had any, as the kids say, motion. So not only are Democrats lying about this being unprecedented and against the norms because they did it just a decade ago, but they're also hypocrites. And here's where the CNN reporter calls him out for his plan to have blue states do the same thing and asks him, why is it bad that Republicans are doing it, but somehow not bad that you're also doing it?
You just accuse Republicans of rigging the election by changing the lines in the middle of the decade. Wouldn't Democrats be doing the same thing?
It's important to understand that in Texas, there's already ongoing litigation that the map that currently exists violates the Voting Rights Act of 1965. That's litigation that we think we're on the verge of winning. What we're committed to doing as Democrats in New York, in California, in New Jersey, across the country, is make sure that the congressional maps are as fair as possible.
Now, whether you think gerrymandering is right or wrong, or democratic or undemocratic, the point is both sides do it, both sides have always done it, and both sides will continue to do it. But the unfortunate truth for Democrats is they've done it a whole lot more in states where they're the majority. So they're talking about redrawing California to give them more of an advantage, but California's already been drawn to give Democrats the biggest possible advantage they can have. There's no more juice to squeeze out of the fruit. In fact, all they do is run the risk of redrawing districts and actually giving Republicans the advantage. And every time Democrats talk about their motivation being the achievement of fairness, it sounds like authoritarian nails on a chalkboard to me. They say fairness because on the surface it sounds kind and positive. But what they really mean is big intrusive government meddling in absolutely everything until they achieve their desired outcome, whatever that may be. It's not like they're redrawing districts to give Democrats and Republicans equal representation in the state. They're both doing it to try to give their own side an advantage. It's like, fine, just say that. Your strategy is to win. But don't hide behind some altruistic intention of fairness. And that conniving insincerity causes the CNN reporter to once again call him out for being a hypocrite, and Hakeem gets pissed.
Is New Jersey another option that you're looking at too?
I think that if you have a situation where Republicans are unleashing every malignant scheme possible to try to undermine the principle of free and fair elections and to disenfranchise millions of people in Texas and beyond, that it's incumbent upon all of us to take a close look at how do we ensure that the congressional map writ large is as fair as possible in advance of the midterm elections.
But you don't think this is the same thing as what the Republicans are doing
Of course
in Texas?
it's not.
Because of why?
Because we believe in the principle of fair maps.
You see how he shouted at him? No, it's not the same. Because he can't bear to be faced with the reality that this moral high ground that he stands on doesn't exist. If you're planning on doing the exact same thing the Republicans are doing, that you're simultaneously condemning, and at every turn you call Republicans Nazis, well, what does that make you if you're doing the exact same thing? But they're not doing it with bad intention. They're doing it to preserve free and fair elections. Just like a communist isn't stealing your property, they're just simply redistributing it for the greater good of society. I love how the reporter responded to his furious declaration that it isn't the same by asking, why not? It's like even he is baffled at the sheer amount of cognitive dissonance. It's like Democrats are so offended that we no longer live under their cultural stranglehold, and they actually have to explain themselves now. It's like before you couldn't ask them, how are you the party of women, but yet you're vigorously fighting for men to compete in women's sports and dominate, and also invade all of their personal private spaces. That used to be met with just, shut up, transphobe. Now, because their insults mean nothing and their societal pressure no longer exists, they're forced to defend their positions, which are grossly indefensible. And they get frustrated that their trusted media outlets are no longer just going along with it. Now, here's where Walmart Obama explains that the big bad thing they're doing in Texas, he wants to do up in his home state of New York, but in a good, free and fair way. Watch.
In New York, I've talked to some members of your delegation, Democrats who want New York to change the maps, to try to add seats, Democratic seats in New York. Would you support that effort in your state?
Let me just simply say the maps in New York are not as fair as they could be.
That sounds to me like you're open to changing it before.
I look forward to having a conversation with the governor about how do we ensure that New York maps are as fair as possible in an environment where you've got extreme MAGA Republicans and Donald Trump doing everything they can to undermine the will of the voters and undermine the principle of free and fair elections across the country.
I'm going to quote my little brother on this one. Fair to whom? We've already seen the past 4 years what fairness means to Democrats. That means men get to beat up women in their sports. That means illegal immigrants can come here in the tens of millions and live for free off the taxpayer. That means the bar to get into higher education is lowered for some demographics that the Democrats prefer, and raised for others that they don't like so much. They love free and fair elections so much that they anointed Kamala Harris as their candidate without a single free and fair vote. They love fairness so much that they decided to make everybody's life way more expensive because of their out-of-control inflation. So spare me with the Democrat fairness. I don't want any more of that. The Democrats are badly losing the culture war and the political war. And you would think after it was exposed that they covered up Joe Biden's mental decline for 4 years, you would think they would get off their high horse and stop pretending to be these moral superiors. But they won't. They refuse to let go of this delusion because it's the only thing that's stopping their extremely entitled and coddled worldview from being shattered into a million pieces. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those notification bells so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.